Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Trevor Ohlsen Show, episode number 60 poo. 60 poo poo. No, 62. Episode number 62 on Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. I am your host, Trevor Ohlsen. Good to be here. What is going on? It is, in fact, Wednesday. Always a pleasure. How are you? How are you doing? I'm going to start off on a bit more serious note, I suppose, just because, well, it was on my mind last night and everything like that, and I was thinking about it again this morning too, and just one of those harsh reminders of the brevity of life. And so there was, I won't say any names or anything like that, but there was someone I graduated with, and we weren't super close. We were closer when we were younger. We played baseball together, and so we graduated together. He's my age, 25, roughly, and I just found out yesterday that his younger sister died, and she was 24, and she had cancer, which I had no idea. And again, I wasn't close with her. I had spoken with her. I talked with her. We went to school together, and she was a beautiful woman. And yeah, I just found out she died, and it was just a harsh reminder of how short life can be. And it also was just a reminder of, like, we just gotta stop caring so much about all the extraneous nonsense that we fill our brains with. It's like I heard about it yesterday, and I was like, can we just, like, distract ourselves with TV and Facebook and Instagram and all this bullshit? And I don't know, it just kind of it surprised me, kind of hit me hard, you know. Just when you see someone, uh, even if you're not close with them, you hear about them passing away, and, like, she was younger than me, and it just so, I mean, my condolences to her family. Um, but it was just again, I just really started questioning, like, life in general. I'm sure we all have those moments where we start questioning everything, and that made me question things, man. I was stressed out a little bit last night about just little things, and then I find out that she died, and I was like, fuck, man, like, it just made all the little things, just reminded me, like, all the little things. It's like, it doesn't matter, like, bullshit it, like, whatever thing at any part in your life, any sort of oh, we just lost the video. What the fuck? What happened there? Hold on, friends. Is it recording? All right, we'll see. I don't know why that happened. My phone just decides to stop working. Um, it just reminded me of, we're all gonna die, and again, I don't know what exactly is next after. I can speculate. I'm a religious person, but I think at the end of the day, we can all agree we don't know, no, 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 what's gonna happen next. So I don't know. It just was a reminder of live your life the way that you want to live it, and do the things that you want to do, and be the person that you want to be, because we're not going to be around forever. So I don't know. It was just it got to me a little bit, and like I said, my sincerest condolences to the family. It's like, and, like, you can't, like, there's nothing that anybody can say that'll take away their pain. And but we all know what it's like to lose somebody close to us. And if you do, and if you don't, eventually you will. It's just part of life. So, so I don't know. It just was on my mind. Like I said, there was just some things I was stressed about yesterday that I won't get into, but just little things. And again, I was like, it just made none of those things matter. I was like, she passed away, and it's like, and I just, and then again, it just made me question all of life, of this life that we're living. Not become nihilistic and say fuck it. Although you do have that thought pop in your head. I did. Like, man. But more so in the sense of like, do what you want to do with your life. Like, if you're miserable, it's like you got to do something about that, because you're going to die, and so am I, and we're all going to die, and everybody we know is going to die. This is a harsh reminder for all of us. So it just made me kind of question, like, am I using my time appropriately? I'm training at the gym. I like that. Excuse me. I'm making music. I need to start doing live shows again. My album's getting, I should say, the singles that are out are getting played, which is great. But again, it just made me question everything. Like, does anything I do matter? And I think these are normal questions, and these are existential questions that we all at some point ask ourselves. And I think one lesson I've learned, an idea that I've heard is, in spite of the suffering, in spite of death, in spite of evil and malevolence in the world, this is all coming from Jordan Peterson, but these aren't necessarily his ideas. These are ideas of all the great thinkers that he's studied, and his ideas as well. But as you know, if you've been listening, I'm a big fan of him, and I've learned a lot from him. But because it's so easy when we experience the loss of someone in particular to be like, then what matters? It's like, does anything matter? Does anything I do matter? Does anything anybody does matter ever? And it's easy to be like, no, it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want, Line up some blowjobs, as Russell Brand once famously said. If life has no meaning, it's like, why not fall into hedonism? But I think what we do does matter, because however long we are here, I think making the most of it while we are here is the best we can do. And making the most of it in the sense of, Jordan Peterson's idea is, mitigating human suffering. Because there's so much suffering in the world. It's like, and he's expressed famously, what's more important than that? What could be more adventurous than that? Than living, telling the truth and saying what you believe in, and reducing the suffering that's going on in the world. So, but again, yeah, I had those questions last night. I heard about it, and I just got home from work, and I was stressed out, and the sauna was heating up. I heated it. I turned it on, and I just did a round at like 9:30, just 15 minutes, and it was outside, and that we don't have the light hooked up yet, so it was totally darkness, and it was really, really isolating, but not in the sense of like loneliness, in the sense of solitude, and it really just kind of allowed me to I felt like almost like my identity disappeared. I got so in my head, I don't even remember exactly what I was even thinking about, but I came out there and I was like, whoa, it was like back to reality. So, just something that I wanted to talk about a little bit today. Like I said, this podcast has always just been an open dialogue about essentially my life and things I'm experiencing, ideas that I'm thinking about, concepts I'm learning about and potentially implementing. And sometimes the podcasts are light and fun and silly. Other times they're more introspective. Other times they're a bit more serious. And yeah, today just happens to fall under that kind of serious category, if you will. You know, just I think I talked about 2 weeks ago. Losing someone to suicide as well. My friend Jake, and he was really the first person I knew who died young. I think he was, how old was he when he died? He's like 24 or 5 or 6. I don't know. I can't even remember. Well, if it was 3 years ago, I was like 22. If he was like, he might have been 24 too. So young. There's just something about when people die really young. It's like, man, you expect to live 80 years. You expect everybody to live 80 years or 100 years, and that's just not always the case. And I know that sounds a bit naive to just expect, our life expectancy is around 73, so we'll probably live to be about 73, and on average, happens to be the case, but it's not the case for everybody. So I think just a humbling reminder was, of hearing about, her passing away, was that we need to live our lives and do whatever it is that we actually want to be doing. And again, it sounds so simple, but it's like if you hate your job, like if you're miserable and you're dragging yourself to work through traffic and you just hate everything about your day, it's like, please change your life. Don't quit your job right away. Don't just be like, fuck you, Jerry. I never liked you. You weren't a good boss, and I didn't like your lips. You have weird lips, Jerry. Got weird little lizard lips. Don't do that. But, whatever, put together the old resume. Start looking for other positions. Something that's suited for you. I don't know. I just want us as people to actually do what we want to be doing. And, I've, as you all know, I've been actively engaged in creating music, something I love to do and something I've always, dreamed about doing, and I do it. And, even though it's on a small scale, it's still me trying to do something that I actually want to do. And, I know I need to be doing more of it too. I do, just like I said, with COVID, put a little bit of a hurdle up in front of in my mind mentally. Why is the video going away? What is wrong with the camera? All right. Apparently my phone is full. Son of a bitch. Hold on, friends. Just keep listening. I'm going to see. Oh, I bet I know what the problem is here. Don't go away. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Here's the problem. All right. We're going to be taken care of here in just a second. Oh, we're almost back. Now I'm going to have to edit all these clips together. All right. Hold on. Get you set up. And we're back. We're good. I have too much stuff on my phone. I need to get a separate camera for this fucking show. So I guess I wanted to briefly talk about that. Like I said, it was on my mind. Yeah. So anyway, suppose we can try to lighten the mood here a little bit. But then again, it's like you don't want to avoid these types of conversations. And if there's, I'm reading a book right now. Don't mind me just massaging my head. wonder if you guys can hear this. Oh yeah, massaging the old noggin. I just started reading a book by, is it Robert Glover? I think so. Donald Glover, the rapper, and actor, and comedian. No, Robert Glover. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and this book was recommended to me, by another author, by Mark Manson. He mentioned it in one of his books called Models, which is a great book for. It's written for men, but also, and essentially it's about. It's I think it's the title is Models: Attracting Women Through Honesty, but it's really, really a great book. There's a lot of books out there about dating, and like there's a lot of like pickup books and shit like that, and like do this and touch her arm at this time and make eye contact, but don't hold on for too long. It's like that is like way too much information to be thinking about. Models, Mark Manson's book comes around. It's like I would recommend like every dude read it, especially if you're single. Like especially if you're single, but even if you're in a relationship, the book essentially, if I can cover it slightly, I mean, he discusses the importance of setting boundaries in your relationships, being vulnerable, like actually opening up to whoever it is that you're talking with. What else? But not performing, not like he calls it performing. When you basically are acting in a way that you wouldn't otherwise to try to say, I don't know, impress the girl or sleep with her or whatever it may be. If you're at a bar and you're trying to pick some chick up, whatever. He goes on to express, you shouldn't be performing. You should just be opening up to women, and not in like, you don't open up the emotional floodgates and be like, I have issues with my mother. Like that's not how you start. But you want to be real with each other. And one thing that I really love that I learned from that book, that I learned from him, well, a couple things. One is this idea of fuck yes or no. And I love this idea. And the idea is whatever woman that you're into, if she isn't into you at the level of fuck yes, then it's no. Basically, I don't want to be with anybody who isn't entirely interested in being with me. I don't want to be somebody's second choice. I'm not interested in that. But I am interested in fuck yes. And if it's not fuck yes, then it's no. Like, well, I'm kind of interested, but this, but that. Well, then no. Okay, see ya, honey. Like, move on. And then another thing I learned, which I really like, was to stop pursuing women who aren't interested in you. And I think men, we have a tendency, people in general have a tendency to like try to get things that they can't have, so to speak. And that's speculative, but an idea. But I really like the idea because when you stop, what did I just say? You go only for fuck yes or it's either fuck yes or no. So basically, you're only going for women who are like super into you, which is kind of what you want. And then, I don't know. I used to get caught up on, say, if a woman would reject me, and I'd feel bad about myself or something like that. And now it's more so, if a woman rejects me, I'm like, okay, well, I'm seeking my own approval first and foremost. Like, as a man, like, I'm good with me. And that's really all that matters. Does it suck a little bit to get rejected? Obviously. But that's part of it. Also, if you're out there, Mark calls it like polarizing women. So you polarize them. So if you're interested in someone, basically, you're going to let them know that to some degree. And that might be through flirting. It might be through just openly saying like, hey, I'm really into you. Using this example, say you're going out at a bar or whatever. Or anywhere. And you express to them that you're interested, genuinely interested. And basically they're obviously going to either respond in a hey, I'm interested too kind of way, or they're not interested, they're dating somebody, they're married, like whatever it may be. And so it's actually good. It's actually a good thing. Like Mark paints it as like the rejection is actually a good thing, because when you get rejected, it's like, okay, oh, okay, well, this probably wouldn't have worked. Like, and again, does it suck a little bit? Yeah, it's gonna suck a little bit, but it's like you can, instead of getting caught up on like, especially like this building up your courage all night to go talk to somebody, like you gotta just go for it, dudes and women. If you're interested in somebody, just go for it. It's gonna be a little scary. You're gonna have little butterflies in the old tummy, but just go for it and see what happens. It might lead to something, it might not, but again, you'll never know if you don't try. There's get all cliche. So it's a great book. So Models by Mark Manson. I think I've talked about it briefly one other time, but it is, hallelujah. It's a great book. So, but in that book, he recommends reading No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. And let's see if I can get, the definition of that book up here. The description, rather. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Here we go. All right. Let's go to the old Wikipedia. No More Mr. Nice Guy. A proven plan for getting what you want in love, sex, and life. It's a 2003 self-help book by Dr. Robert A. Glover. He describes what he calls the nice guy syndrome, a condition in men who appear to be always nice and who try to avoid conflict at all costs. Glover's premise is that nice guys have been conditioned by their childhoods and by society to believe that they will be successful only if they make everyone happy and never cause any problems for others. However, this desire for approval results in self-loathing. In other words, nice guys want approval, but don't think they deserve it. This creates internal frustration, since nice guys never try to obtain what they want in life. In addition, the nice guy's desire to obtain approval from everyone, especially women, often causes him to actually behave in very unnice ways. This includes dishonesty about themselves, passive-aggressive behavior, and inauthenticity. Dr. Glover's prescription involves getting nice guys to recognize that their needs and desires are important, and that to make others happy, they must first learn to make themselves happy. One of the primary ways advised in the book to remedy this is for nice guys to learn to embrace and develop their masculine traits instead of fearing and suppressing them. There we go, baby. I like that a lot. I like that idea. Because there's really this attack on masculinity. I think as we're all pretty aware of that. There's been this massive attack on masculinity in recent times, if you will, culturally. And it's like, we need men, and we need men. We don't need boys. We don't need children. We need men who take personal responsibility for their own needs, their own feelings, their own actions. And I don't really understand this attack on masculinity, from, say, like radical feminists or whoever it may be. I guess I understand it. Maybe, I think it's the oppressed narrative. Like, hey, men are always oppressing women, and women, men are the oppressors and women are the oppressed. So, fuck you guys. And now the women are pissed. But I really, really don't think that's helpful. In fact, I think that makes a lot of men resent women. I think same with even with the race thing, calling white people, this idea that white people are inherently evil. It's like, that's going to make white people resent people of other, races. And I'm not a racist person at all. I'm a lover of all people. But I just think it's pretty obvious, like, if you tell somebody, hey, you're inherently evil because you're white, it's probably not going to be helpful. Maybe. I'm just saying, it's probably not helpful. You might feel that way, but again, I don't think that's going to be helpful for progress. If anything, I think that's just going to create a further divide amongst races, which is silly because we're all people. We're all people on this little planet here. And we are. We should be one big family, but we're the furthest thing from it. And it's can be disheartening at times. But I do really like this idea of men embracing their masculinity. And it's actually made me realize, so he talks a lot in the book about having like men's groups. And I'll be honest, I've never really even thought about it, like having, a men's retreat or like just men together. Like I've had guys' nights and stuff like that. That's always fun, but a big group of men. And I've never really had that in my life. And I think I'd like to. I like that idea of embracing, and I've been doing this, and I over the course as I've gotten older, I've been like, I'm by no means ashamed of masculinity at all. I think masculinity's, as a man, is fucking great. I like feeling like a man. I like looking like a man. I'm a pretty man, well, from what people tell me, but a man nonetheless. It's one reason why I love weightlifting. It's like I feel like a physically stronger man, and I've become a physically stronger man over the years through weightlifting, through 7 years of discipline. So I like it. I think it's great. I think masculinity is great. I also think having a balance of both masculine and feminine is ideal as well. It's not like, you can't just have masculinity without femininity. Can I say that word? Feminism? Femininity? Is that how you say it? Masculinity, femininity. So just another book I'm reading. I know I'm always, not always, but I've talked about a good number of books that I've read with you guys, but a good number of books that I've read, and I've discussed them with you guys. So far, I think I'm like 5 chapters in, and essentially, Glover has talked about, make your needs a priority, accept who you are, moment by moment, while still aiming up, so to speak, because he says in the book, and I was really thinking about this, just accept yourself, be happy with who you are, accept yourself for who you are, self-acceptance, accept your imperfections. And I agree with that, but also I think we all have a conscious understanding that we know we could be doing better. So we're not what we could be. We can always be smarter. We can always be stronger. We can always be better. We can always have better relationships. So I think that's actually my wording. I came up with I like the idea of accepting yourself moment by moment with all your flaws and all your imperfections. Accepting yourself in that moment while still aiming up. So not remaining stagnant, not, solidifying your identity and saying, all right, this is who I am, and I'm not going to change ever again. I guess this is who I am. I'm going to accept it, and I'm not going to be anything else ever. I'm not going to evolve. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to do anything. I don't think that's correct. And I don't think he's even saying that, but because I think he's probably too smart for that. But that was just something I thought of. I was like, well, you can't just be totally happy with who you are, because you could be better. Like you know your own inadequacies more intimately than anybody else does. So again, accepting those flaws moment by moment. I think that's what it is, while still aiming at the highest good you can conceptualize. I think that's the way to do it. So, and then also one other quick idea here, I'll let you go, was, he said, he asked the question, why do people change who they are? And I really thought about that. And I was like, well, and I did write it down. Let's see what I wrote down. pull her up here. Okay. So here we go. So why would it seem rational for a person to try to eliminate or hide certain things about himself and try to become something different unless there was a compelling reason for him to do so? Why do people try to change who they really are? Take some time and think about this. That's what he said. And so I thought about it. And this is the conclusion that I came up with. And then he eventually gave an answer, which was the same thing. So I felt pretty cerebral, you might say. So I said, people change who they are because there is an immense social pressure / expectation to conform. By conforming, you will be more accepted by others. By being more accepted by others, you will feel more secure about yourself. By feeling more secure about yourself, you will be more confident. By being more confident, the world will open up to you, and everybody wants the world to open up to them. So people hide or change who they really are because of the crushing force of culture and a desire to be accepted in that culture. To sum up in 3 words, people change who they are because fear of judgment. So that was the conclusion that I came to. And I might even add fear of judgment and a fear of abandonment. So because everybody, and this was another thing I questioned. It's like everybody's different. Like it's not like why do people change who they are? It's like, well, people are changing who they are moment by moment. It's like I act different around my parents than I do around my friends. I act different around my friends than I do when I'm on stage. It's like. And also, people bring out a certain energy in you. It's like if you're talking to a really lethargic, horribly boring person, you're going to probably feel like, oh, God. But if you're talking to somebody who's super enthusiastic and energetic and like who's a fucking go-getter, you get fired up. So it's like we feed off each other. So it's not like we're this stagnant control in a science experiment. It's like we're constantly changing who we are all the time. But ultimately, I came to the conclusion that we change who we are because of fear of judgment and fear of abandonment. So there you go. A couple little books you guys can check out if you're interested. Models by Mark Manson and No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. I'd recommend especially Models. I would recommend No More Mr. Nice Guy. I'm not finished with it, but I am enjoying it. So, all right, friends. I appreciate you guys listening, sticking around, and for joining me and being here with me. Keep doing your thing. Keep moving forward in spite of all the pain and suffering that life can deliver. I think we can still be there for each other, and we can still love each other and encourage each other onwards. So I hope I can, if I can do anything, I hope I can do that even for one person. So keep doing your thing, you guys. We'll see all of y'all on Saturday on Patreon. If you're interested in signing up, patreon.com/Trevor Ohlsen. I just said y'all. Keep doing your thing, and we'll see you on Saturday.